There is much to do about Perez's results lately. Where the Mexican driver performed exceptionally well in the beginning of the season, he faced a turnaround since the Grand Prix of France. With one race win and 6 second places, Perez plays a big part in the enormous lead of Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship and Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. But with the praise also comes criticism. There is a growing group of experts that start to see that Perez is slowly losing touch with the performances of his teammate, whereas Verstappen has been dominating the last 5 races and scored 125 points. Perez scored only 59 points. The gap has now widened to 125 points in the Drivers' Championship. Almost every race weekend, Checo refers to being uncomfortable in the car. It is widely known that Perez needs time to find his optimal setup and often starts slow during the practice sessions. This is in contrast to Verstappen, who, according to his ex-teammate Albon, sometimes only needs 10 minutes to come up with the right setup. After the Friday practice sessions at Zandvoort, which is a highly technical circuit, he said, "You really need the confidence going into the session to trust the car in order to push it, and I wasn't quite there or fully comfortable, so there are a couple of things on my side that we need to look at and make some decisions on in order to get the most out of the package." That Perez has difficulty getting the most out of his package can be seen through the difference with his teammate. Before the summer break, Perez was sometimes able to outqualify his teammate, and on average was only 0.143 tenths behind Verstappen during qualifying. After the summer break, he lost all qualifying duels, and the average qualifying gap increased to 0.811 seconds. The difference is massive, and many fans point to Red Bull purposely slowing down Perez so Verstappen can get all the credits. Other fans claim that Red Bull only installs updates on Verstappen's car, as he is also the only one driving with the new specification floor. But is any of this really true? What has happened to Perez over the summer break? Is Red Bull indeed favoring Verstappen with their upgrades? What did Pierre Wache, technical director of Red Bull, reveal about Sergio's loss in performance, and can Perez win another race by his own speed? Let's find out. The Mexican driver is one of the most loved drivers on the grid. Verstappen will forever be in Perez's debt after he held off Hamilton in both Turkey and in the Abu Dhabi 2021 final, which rightfully got him the nickname Master of Defense. Checo started his F1 career in 2011 and has driven 4 different generation F1 cars ever since. Prior to his Red Bull seat, he claimed most of his podium finishes during the 2014 to 2016 era, which saw small, relatively low downforce cars with the V6 hybrid engines. But why did Checo do so well in this particular era? It is widely known that Perez applies a late braking technique to increase the load on the front tires. The increased load helps improve front rotation. The 2014 to 2016 cars were naturally understeering cars due to their smaller front wings compared to the 2009 to 2013 generation cars. Although Checo didn't have the best car as he was driving for Force India at the time, he often did outperform the car itself. However, with the introduction of the 2017 high downforce cars, Perez's results went backwards. This is of course partially due to the lack of car performance, but it also would see an era where a late braking technique would be less favored over an early braking technique. The 2017 to 2021 cars saw a major increase in the size of the front and rear wing as well as tire size. The increased grip levels automatically improved front rotation, so there was less front load needed to rotate the front of the car. During the 2020 season, Racing Point developed a car that was suited to the Mexican's driving style, and he managed to score points in every single race in which he finished. He even scored a second place and won the first race of his life at the adjusted version of the Bahrain circuit. These impressive results ultimately led to his Red Bull promotion. So what happened during the 2021 season? Adrian Newey, top designer of Red Bull, is notorious for his high-rake concept that revolves around creating a car that has an extremely good front rotation, but is also stable in the corners. The RB16B required a different driving style than Perez's Racing Point. Although cars sometimes look similar in design, they can still require different driving techniques to get the maximum out of the car's performance. As fans saw during the majority of the season, the Mexican driver had difficulty adjusting to his car. A brake-early technique was needed to get maximum performance out of the car, which is completely opposite of what Perez was used to. Eventually, he managed to win one race and scored 4 third places. Although he did better than the previous 2 teammates of Verstappen, it is in small contrast to the 10 victories and 8 second places of Max that season. But how did the new 2022 car regulations impact Perez? This season's cars are 46 kilos heavier than last season's car. Besides the weight increase, the 2022 cars also see a different way of generating downforce. The current generation F1 cars tend to understeer more due to the weight increase and a more standard front wing design that generates less front downforce. Because they generate less downforce, there is more front load needed on the tires to rotate the car. To increase the front load, drivers have to brake later. As explained earlier in this video, Perez is a master in the late braking technique. His teammate Verstappen, however, has difficulty adapting to a late braking technique and has been widely known for his early braking technique. So what has happened since the summer break? Max often complained about the understeering characteristics of his car in the early phases of the season. The latest news is that the car was 20 kilograms heavier than the minimum weight. According to Verstappen, it wasn't only the weight that was an issue. The wrong distribution of the added weight also enhanced the understeering characteristics. As the season progressed, Red Bull brought upgrades that are in line with Adrian Newey's philosophy of a sharp front rotating car. The Austrian team also managed to lose about 15 kilograms of weight, which all led to a reduction of the understeering characteristics. As the car got quicker, it also became more suited to Verstappen's driving style, while Perez's driving style started to prevent him from getting everything out of the car. But how did Pierre Wache, technical director of Red Bull, respond when asked whether they should have developed the car more to Perez's liking? In an interview with racefans.net, he said, "I think it's multiple factors, but the main factor is clearly the car balance, the confidence with the car, compared to the beginning of the year when the car was a bit more balanced for Perez and a bit less for Max. The development we put on the car during this season seemed to have moved it away from what was ideal for Perez. Trying to find the right setup for him is quite difficult to get him as confident as he could be to beat or to fight with Max. When we develop the car, then you go for the best performance development. It is suiting more Max, but it was not the purpose of the development. It was more developing the car. I would say normally you will lose a bit of performance to make it handle better. Doesn't mean it's a lot, but it is this type of direction." Wache argues that they didn't prefer a certain driver when developing the car, but when it comes to Helmut Marko, they certainly do develop the car around the Dutch driver. Due to the budget cap, it is also not possible anymore to produce 2 components to upgrade both cars during a Grand Prix weekend. Lately, Verstappen has been given updates that Perez didn't get. However, according to Christian Horner, this doesn't explain a big difference in race pace. He said to RacingNews365.com, "It's very, very negligible. I think we predicted it to be less than a tenth of a second. What he misses out on the floor, he gains in other elements, so it tends to even itself out, whether that's a slight bit of weight to compensate." So does Perez have a real opportunity of winning another race again this year? Based on the development of the car and the difficulty Perez has to change his driving style, it will be a difficult task to come out on top in a straight battle against the other teams and his teammate. Red Bull also announced that they will limit the amount of updates they will bring. Due to the budget cap and the massive lead they have in both the Constructors' and Drivers' Championship, Red Bull is putting the remaining of their resources into the development of next year's car. Do you think Perez is treated fairly at Red Bull? Let me know in the comments section below.